I still struggle with like imposter syndrome, especially when I'm around other cis women. I feel like I don't fully belong because I wasn't born female. Do you think 26 is too old to transition? I was in the hospital getting bottom surgery, and there was literally someone having bottom surgery in their 60s. You're never too old to transition. 26 is really like still young. Of course, like, you know, going fully through puberty like kind of messes with you, but like don't underestimate the power of HRT. Only time that's too late is the day after you die. Exactly. It doesn't really matter when you transition. It just matters that you get to a point where you can do it safely and you have a supportive environment around you. Because doing it alone is like incredibly difficult. When I tell people my age after HRT and whatnot, like I look like I'm in my early 20s. I'm 28 now. You also gotta eat a lot when on HRT. It's a balance. Because like body fat redistribution doesn't redistribute fat that you currently have. You literally need to gain weight and lose your current weight. And there's like a balance. There's like this, I don't know, what is it? Like 3 pounds gaining, 3 pounds losing, 3 pounds gaining, and so on, and you repeat that each week or something. Isn't that the strat? And like HRT, like estrogen, you need like fat to work with. Losing weight and toning your body, if you're overweight, is more effective than weight cycling if you want to shape your body. You just have to keep in mind that like it's only going to redistribute like new fat. The thing is like with HRT, it's not a switch. It's like a slow process, and it's going to take some time, and it's going to take a while until you see like the progress. Something that I really struggle with, there's a comment that I would like to address because I think it's important. This is something I've been struggling with in my transition. I don't know if I should identify as a woman or man or femboy. I've been on HRT for 4 years now, MTF. I still struggle with what I identify as. I don't feel comfortable calling myself a woman because the sound of my voice is masculine. My attempts to fix that really hurt my throat. Voice feminization shouldn't hurt your throat. I'm comfortable with having genitalia. The thing is, like, I still struggle with, like, imposter syndrome. I've been on HRT for also, like, 3 years now. I've had bottom surgery, and I still struggle with, like, imposter syndrome, especially when I'm around other cis women. I feel like I don't fully belong because I wasn't born female, and I don't feel like I'm always valid, and that's, like, internalized transphobia and misogyny and whatnot, and it's like really toxic. The thing is, like, even if you don't want bottom surgery, that doesn't mean that you're any less of a woman. Moving the goalpost is something that a lot of like TERFs and like transphobic people love to do. They just love being like, oh, if you want to be a woman, then you should have to look like a woman. Now you look like a woman? Well, you don't sound like a woman. You don't put in as much effort into being a woman, so you're not a woman. Now you sound like a woman, you look like a woman. What about the surgeries? You still haven't had the surgeries, so what are you, like, you're still like a man. And it just, oh my god. You hold yourself to a standard that is unachievable and that is already really difficult to achieve for most cis women. You're trying to not only overcome the struggles of like transitioning and whatnot, dealing with gender dysphoria, not being socialized in the right way, not feeling valid enough because, I don't know, you don't have like the right experiences that like cis women of your age have. But then you're also dealing with like the misogyny, with like gender norms, beauty expectations and whatnot. It's something that is being weaponized against trans people like all the time. It's also something that is being weaponized against femboys. A lot of people are like, oh, you're not a real femboy unless you look like a girl. It's incredibly toxic, you know? And it's just misogyny. It doesn't matter how much you go into like transitioning and whatnot, because you haven't been born a certain way. Even if you would look like a top model and you would work really hard on your body and trying to fulfill like beauty expectations and whatnot, people would still find a reason to invalidate you and make you feel like you don't belong. And it hurts so much more when it comes from other women because you think they would know better. Just because you don't have like bottom dysphoria and you don't want to have the surgery doesn't mean you can't call yourself a woman. Because, you know, biological sex and gender is independent from each other. The other thing is, like, even if you have bottom surgery, people are still going to use something to invalidate you. Oh, you can't get pregnant. Oh, you don't have the right chromosomes. You weren't born a girl. You don't know what girls go through, and it's just always so exhausting. They make transitioning so difficult, and then they shame us for not transitioning early enough and not having like the proper results. It's like, oh, you haven't transitioned when you were 14. You weren't put on puberty blockers, you went through male puberty, now you're transitioning, you basically look like a man. It's just so toxic. It's like, you're the reason. You're the reason I wasn't able to transition sooner. And now you're using it as a way to invalidate me and just be misogynistic. But if you start too early, you'll regret it. Yeah, exactly. It's just like, you can't win. And it's so frustrating because like, if you have gender dysphoria, if you have like insecurities, like, these things hurt way more because they attack something that you already like feel self-conscious about, you know? It's crazy how they gatekeep transitioning for people that are post-puberty while at the same time trying to stop people from getting puberty blockers. They want to push the idea that like HRT doesn't actually work. But like the thing is like, if you have like a trans girl who transitioned early enough, who didn't go through male puberty, and thus didn't develop a lot of like these stereotypically masculine features, and instead had like estrogen and started going through like female puberty, then there isn't that much of a difference between a cis girl and a trans girl. Like, you can't tell. The voice isn't different. A lot of things that like testosterone is like responsible for and that is causing like irreversible changes, it's just not happening if you weren't going through male puberty. And they want to go after like puberty blockers and HRT for minors and whatnot, and they want to push this idea that you should only transition if you're 25 because then puberty is complete, and then you have like all these issues, all these irreversible changes. It helps these people push the idea that trans women are basically just men. That's just what it is. And what they are literally doing is trying to make it noticeable who is a trans woman and who isn't, because they know for a fact that if you don't go through male puberty and you instead go on HRT, there is no difference between a trans girl and a cis girl. They know this. Hey everyone, Editing Nyara here. I just wanted to clarify that I'm not saying that you can't have good results if you don't transition early enough. I'm just saying that you have to overcome certain things, and you have certain things that you're going to feel dysphoric about if you already go through male puberty. Testosterone causes irreversible changes, especially when it comes to like your voice and so on. And these are things that you don't need to overcome if you were on puberty blockers and then went straight to the puberty that aligns with your gender identity. But there are plenty of trans women who are in their late 30s who look way better than a lot of cis women. So it's still worth transitioning, even if you're doing it later on, even if you completed male puberty and so on. It's just going to take a little bit longer, and you're going to have certain things that you are probably going to feel dysphoric about. I'm dealing with that myself. I started HRT when I was 25. I'm 28 now, and I'm seeing all the hard work that I put in slowly pay off. I just wanted to quickly clarify, just that there isn't any confusion, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We're getting really close to the 10,000 subscriber mark, and that's pretty cool. Bye-bye, everyone. There are also plenty of trans women who look way better than cis women. And then the thing is, like, transitioning is not just like a switch. There is this ugly transitioning stage that you have to go through before your glow up and whatnot. You know, like I'm still in my ugly transitioning stage, and it's annoying, it's frustrating, but still, like, I look a lot more feminine. I look more like a woman. I pass more. They want to weaponize these like transitioning in between stages. They use like random examples of people who didn't have access to like trans healthcare and whatnot to like push their narrative that trans women are basically just men pretending to be women in order to, I don't know, sexualize themselves, objectify themselves, go invade women's spaces and whatnot, and do predatory things. Like, that is what they are doing. But we also know who is watching TransCon. You know, Nick Fuentes, the guy who was like, oh, your body, my choice. He had his con goon folder with TransCon. They just like dehumanize us, objectify us, view us as these, I don't know, men they can dominate and put in their place, or like they are gay and in denial and they only want to smash men when they look like women. You know, this is also why they freak out every time a trans woman talks about getting bottom surgery. It's like, oh no, rest in peace, this man's penis. It's gross behavior. And this is why they don't want us to be able to like fully transition and whatnot. That's why they push this idea that we are dangerous to children and whatnot. They don't respect us as human beings. They don't see us as people. And if you let people like this define who you are and let people like this tell you what you should identify as, how valid you are, you're always going to lose. So you need to listen to like the trans community. You need to listen to people who respect you. And you will find that there are a lot of people out there who view you as a woman no matter how far you are in your transitioning stage. And these are the people that you should like surround yourself with.